Now we've got the cluster to be removed. There's 4 screws, 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top. We're going to unscrew those as well. Now the 4 screws are removed. Around the steering column, there's a shroud, plastic shroud, that one you can just pull outwards on. And pull it right over the steering column. Now the cluster can just be pulled out, removed. The cable is really long on it, so you can just pull it out, turn it around, unplug it. Now behind the cluster, there's a metal bracket on the towards the passenger side with 2 torque screws. We're going to unscrew those, and then once we get to the under dash, there'll be a 10mm holding to the airbag support that'll allow that metal panel to come down. This metal bracket is basically in the way to get to the ignition switch. Now we can lift the steering all the way up. And proceed to the removal of the underdash. The underdash will have 3 torque screws to holding it in. There's no need to disconnect this whole panel. You can just drop it down. Now you're going to see that there's a 10mm. You can just go with your 10mm ratchet here. And once you remove that 10mm, you can just pull that metal bracket down. There's also a black vent pipe that goes up to the back. You just pull downwards on it, and then from behind the key switch, just pull it sideways towards the driver's side. Now we're ready for the ignition switch removal. Now that we got that metal bracket out, as well as the vent pipe, we're ready with the supply tool to remove the ignition cylinder. First, start by removing the ring with the tool, turning counterclockwise. That's going to allow the switch, just by pressing on the top of it, for it to fall back into the dash. Now around the steering column, if you want to make it a little bit more room, there's actually a part of the shroud that you can just unclip towards the back. And then just pass it over the steering column. like that. Now I can bring the steering all the way up. And now if we turn the ignition switch, we're gonna get you a closer angle. Now you have access to the ignition plugs. If you need to bring the switch out, you can drop the switch all the way down to the bottom now that the metal bracket's not there anymore.